60 Minutes overtime.
The protesters say they won't leave the streets until their demands are met. But the Hong Kong authorities don't want to give in.
Has Hong Kong changed, or did I not understand Hong Kong? I mean, that's the question in my mind. I lived in China on and off for 12 years, beginning in 1997, and I spent a lot of time in Hong Kong as well during that period. My understanding of Hong Kong years ago was that it was a fun city, it had a sort of great energy to it, but that it wasn't a political place, that Hong Kongers weren't particularly political people. And I think I'd misjudged it. This is a place where people care deeply about their political rights. They want to hold on to the political rights that they have.
I can't really see, my future in Hong Kong, should Hong Kong become just another Chinese city, as it were. I can't see Hong Kong having a future, if the movement fails.
What's so interesting is, in this city that's kind of famous for its capitalism, for its kind of freewheeling market economy, is that these prosperous middle-class people who have so much to lose have come out on the street weekend after weekend.
Many people would say that capitalism runs through the veins of people here in Hong Kong. The protesters are walking through a street corner where Armani meets Louis Vuitton, meets Tiffany.
This movement has clearly had an impact on the economy of Hong Kong. It's a big financial centre. That's all still working, that's all still going on. But Hong Kong also depends on tourism, and in particular on tens of millions of people coming from mainland China every year to visit Hong Kong and to go shopping. And there apparently has been a huge drop in those numbers. So, undoubtedly Hong Kong is feeling some economic pain over this. How does the economy play into this for the Chinese regime? They obviously don't like the fact that there is unrest on the street. I guess they would be worried about the idea that people in mainland China would look at the protests in Hong Kong and say, oh, that's how political unrest works. On the other hand, I think that the Chinese authorities know that if this turns from a kind of nasty confrontation with the authorities into something much worse, bloodshed on the streets of Hong Kong, that could really impact Hong Kong's future as a financial centre. And that has to be something that the government in Beijing is worried about.
你为什么很讨厌他们呢？Okay, this man is a refugee from mainland China. He says he swam here in 1962 and he hates the Chinese Communist Party.
Clearly the protesters in Hong Kong want US support. Whether it's American lawmakers speaking out, talking directly to the Chinese regime and saying, don't use violence against the protesters. You have to negotiate against the protesters, putting pressure on the Chinese government to act in a certain way, or whether it's just making sure that ordinary Americans are watching what's going on there. And I think one indication of that is the fact that so many protesters carry American flags. I think that's a very strategic and canny thing that they're doing, trying to make sure that ordinary Americans and members of Congress are watching what's happening in Hong Kong.